The association between the back of your tongue, the posterior third, and your airway. I have been coaching a lot of people, in part through a lot of these short presentations that I've given, on trying to improve their tongue position. Because remember, if you want to cure craniofacial dystrophy, if you want to improve your facial appearance and have an effect on these variety of symptoms associated with craniofacial dystrophy, you've got to do two things. You've got to build up your resting muscle tone and you've got to improve your tongue position. Now, building up your resting muscle tone is probably the easier of the two. You can just chew gum. You can chew tougher things. Or lots of small, I often say lots of seeds and little things are great things to chew. But that's a relatively simple thing to do. It's like going down the gym. It's achievable with a simple application. Changing posture is a much more difficult thing to do. I often say to people, it's perfectly simple. Anyone can exhibit the correct posture, and yet almost no one can exhibit the correct posture all the time. It's simple but completely true. Now, if you want to get the tongue up in the correct position, first of all you need to identify the posterior third of the tongue. The posterior third, the back of the tongue, is vital because this is where more of the subconscious innovation is going on. Right now I'm using that highly innervated front two-thirds of my tongue. I hope to great effect. I hope I'm making some sense. So that front section, the anterior two-thirds, that's got a high level of innovation. It's really a lot of conscious control. I presume somewhere in here lots of signals are being transferred through to the front of my tongue that's waving around creating these noises. Now that posterior third, that's got more of the subconscious, and of course when you're not thinking about something, you've got to rely more on that subconscious innovation, and you've got to build that subconscious innovation up. And we know we can do it because if someone jumps out in front of me while I'm driving along, I hit you can't see my leg, but my right foot hits the brake. And it's very effective at doing that. I hardly even think. So what I've built is I've built a conditioned reflex response. Now, what people have got to do in tongue training is to develop this conditioned reflex response. And I don't clearly have all the answers, but we're working it out together. And getting that posterior third of the tongue up is vitally important. And one of the classic signs, one of the things you will feel if you're getting that posterior third of the tongue really up on the roof of your mouth, on the back there, it will affect your airway. And that's one of the classic signs, because if you think about it, anyone who doesn't have ideal facial form, and that's 95% of us, if not more, well, we're going to have had some level of craniofacial dystrophy. So that the front of the face will have dropped back and down, meaning that the length from here to here will be shortened. Now, if that length is shortened, when you do get the tongue properly up in the mouth and you get the back of the tongue up properly, that posterior section, well, what's going to happen is it's going to push back on your airway. So what you're going to tend to find is that back here, that back section of the tongue, when it properly comes up, is going to push back on the soft palate and push the soft palate slightly back into the airway. Now that's going to feel uncomfortable because it's slightly embarrassing your airway. And that's the reason why most people don't do it. That's the reason why most people's faces have dropped down and back.